Good morning. It's time to get in touch. Brought to you by Geisinger Muncie and Jersey Shore. State-of-the-art healthcare close to home. Every week, this public affairs show shines a spotlight on people and programs in our communities that improve the quality of life in Lycoming County and beyond. I'm Freddi Hammer, host of In Touch and news director at Backyard Broadcasting.
Joining me today is Rebecca Jackson with the Lycoming Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. She's here to talk about the organization's mission, its impact in our community, some wonderful fundraising that they're going to be doing here this year. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Freddi. I'm very excited to be here.
For people who've never heard of the Daughters of the American Revolution, just tell me a little bit about what's it all about at its center.
So the Daughters of the American Revolution is a national society. It was founded on October 11th of 1890, and it promotes historical preservation, education, and patriotism across the United States.
How long have you been doing it?
Well, I am actually a legacy member. My great-grandmother, grandmother, mother, aunt, cousin, sister, and my daughter and niece will now be members of the Children of the American Revolution.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it since before birth. However, I've only been a member for a few years now.
Tell me how it works. It's like we're a chapter here in Lycoming County, and then there's a national umbrella.
Yes, you got it. Yep.
Okay.
So the chapter that I belong to is the Lycoming Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Okay.
But the National Society has had over 1 million members since it started, and there are almost 3,000 chapters across the United States.
That's incredible. And they go through just exactly what we do here, getting connected to our ancestors.
Yes, absolutely.
Where is the central location for the national chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution?
The National Society is in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
It takes up an entire city block. It's right adjacent to the White House, and it actually has the largest genealogical research center in the United States.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
They really do a lot of work there.
They do. We love to work. We love to serve God, home, and country.
Tell me a little bit about a meeting at the Daughters of the American Revolution. Give me a description.
Yep. So we usually have our chapter meetings at a local church, but then we also have projects that we're involved in. And as you know, this year's America 250.
Yeah.
Big deal.
That's really big.
Yeah. So one of the projects that we are working on and raising funding for, it is a difficult situation for us because we're a small chapter to raise funds. But for this year, what we're planning on doing, we want to honor what had actually taken place in 1976 for the bicentennial.
What happened then?
So in 1976, again, for the birth of the nation for 200 years, a bronze plaque was dedicated by the Lycoming Chapter D.A.R. in memory of soldiers of the American Revolution whose bodies still rest in the beautiful grassy plot, which had been the old churchyard of Lycoming Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
And this is actually located on Arch Street in Newberry, right across from Dunkin' Donuts. So that church that you see there, that's the location we're discussing.
Okay. That's a real flat little area in there. I have to look around a little bit more to get acclimated.
So if you look, there's like a huge cross that's already there. So that plaque was already like put onto that for the cemetery marking. And many families, they actually moved a lot of the bodies of their loved ones to other local cemeteries. However, there are still many bodies that still remain, and among these are a number of Revolutionary War veterans, namely Danforth Bowen, Henry Dougherty.
Okay.
You might recognize that name.
Oh, Dougherty's Run Road.
Yeah,
Yes.
You got it. Thomas Mahaffey, and there are others who served, but their names are unknown that are also buried there.
That's so neat.
So again, like as part of America 250, our plan and project is to rededicate that plaque.
How can we help you get that done?
Please contact the Lycoming Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. We would really appreciate your support.
That website locally is pssdar.org.
Yes, yes.
So you're preserving this significant cemetery, aren't you?
It is the oldest cemetery in the county. Native Americans actually called it the old burial grounds, and they would mark their graves by placing tomahawks in the tree. And our late Lycoming Chapter D.A.R. regent, she was also an area historian and genealogist and school teacher in Newberry. Her name was Sarah Felix Frederick. She actually completed all the research for this memorial.
There must be so many legendary stories connected to that research and to learn about Native American history right here in Lycoming County.
The name Lycoming actually comes from Lycoming Creek, and the Native Americans called that the Sandy Stream. That was what it was referred to. And Lycoming Creek was the boundary line between the lands of the Native Americans and the white settlers. On June 10th, in 1901, a boulder monument was erected in the Calvary Methodist churchyard at the corner of West 4th Street and Cemetery Street. The monument commemorates the Plum Thicket Massacre of the white settlers by Native Americans on June 10th in 1778. On that day, a bloody massacre was perpetrated by a company of about 20 Native Americans. They were sanctioned by the British. So men, women, and children, they were brutally shot, tomahawked, stabbed, and scalped. One of the women tomahawked, her name was Mrs. Rachel King. She was the wife of Lieutenant William King Sr. He was not present at the site during the massacre. But their two young daughters, they were ages 2 and 4. They were taken by the Native Americans to Canada. And Lieutenant King, he searched for 7 years for his daughters and was able to rescue them and bring them home. And as the family legend goes, you can imagine at ages 2 and 4, after 7 years, they're going to look a little bit different. He was able to recognize and confirm that they were his daughters because of the birthmarks that they had.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, isn't that pretty amazing?
It really is. And all that history.
We have a lot of history in Pennsylvania and Lycoming County as well.
Are they buried in that cemetery or near that site?
Lieutenant William King and his wife, they're actually buried where the monument stands there off of West 4th Street and Cemetery. But a little fun kind of piece of the puzzle when we're talking about historic preservation is that Lieutenant William King Sr.'s brother was Lieutenant Robert King, and his granddaughter, Martha Jean, married John Franklin McGinnis. I'm not sure if you've ever heard that name here in Lycoming County.
No, but I am hungry for more of these local stories, so sure, tell me.
So John Franklin McGinnis, he was a local journalist, author, and a distinguished historian of Lycoming County, and he wrote the history of Lycoming County, Pennsylvania. So in 1999, a monument was erected in memory of Mr. McGinnis in front of the Tabor Museum for his labors of prosperity throughout Lycoming County.
The Tabor is the hub for local history if you want to learn something.
Well, we're very lucky because Mr. Gary Parks from the Tabor Museum, he is actually curating a display for our tea party that's coming up on March 28th. So next Saturday, yeah.
And that's a big fundraiser for you, isn't it?
It is our big fundraiser, and that's going to help support that rededication on Arch Street.
What's Mr. Parks putting together for the fundraiser?
For the display, what he's going to be including is an antique doll collection that was dedicated to the Tabor Museum by Margaret Hayes Lamedy.
I know that name.
Yep. I'm glad that you know your history, Freddi.
A little. You're teaching me a little bit. What a special historic collection. What else is going to be a part of the fundraiser and the things we can see on the 28th?
So in addition to Mr. Gary Parks bringing the beautiful antique doll collection, we're going to be having a guest speaker. His name is Dr. Christopher Pearl. He is a history professor at Lycoming College, and he will be speaking on the importance of George Washington's book, Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior, Why Manners Matter.
Oh, it's going to be a tea party, so there's going to be lots of manners displayed.
Yes. It's fun. Interactive. And there also is a doll store. So a lot of the girls, when they come for the tea party, they'll bring their American Girl dolls so they can purchase different clothing and things. And we really encourage it. They love it. So this has been an annual fundraiser that we've been having. It will be at the Elegant Acacia Club at the Scottish Rite here in Williamsport.
It's a beautiful room.
It's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. The ladies, the Lycoming Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, they have gone above and beyond this year to make it beautiful, and we look forward to next year's 5th annual tea party.
So who is the leadership for the Lycoming County Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution?
Our current Lycoming Chapter regent is Miss Sherry Sands.
Okay.
She is actually a cousin of mine. Very
nice.
wonderful.
This is a legacy for sure. And when did the Lycoming Chapter get started?
Our chapter started in 1896.
Okay.
With our first regent, and her name was Mrs. Mary White Gamble Emery. She was our first regent, and she was also one of the most prominent women in Williamsport at the time.
Think of the history. They didn't even know they were laying this down then.
Yep. In 1896, when the Lycoming Chapter was formed, there were women that were still living whose fathers had fought in the Revolutionary War. So think about that, right?
Gosh. He came home from the war.
Right.
Wow.
Yep. And there were 33 of these women, and they're called the Real Daughters. Out of those 33 women, 3 women became daughters and members of the Lycoming Chapter. So 3 daughters. That's very significant for our area's history because if you recall, I had stated there are almost 3,000 chapters across the nation, and we had 3 of those original daughters. And their names were Statira Nutt Christie, Miss Mary Jane Lynn, and Helen Allen Sloan. Miss Helen Allen Sloan, she died on April 11th, 1909 in Cedar Run, which is located here in Lycoming County.
Yeah.
And all three of these real daughters, they have grass-level granite stones at their grave sites, which was a project by the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution to locate and mark sites of the real daughters. One of the projects I wanted to mention that was one of the first projects that resulted from the Lycoming chapter was the actual founding of the James V. Brown Library.
Oh. And just one of many projects, I expect.
Yes. So she was actually a member in 1899,
cool.
And in the newly found chapter, of course. And I think it's important to note one of our late members of the Lycoming chapter, her name was Dr. June E. Baskin. She was actually quoted saying, "Mrs. Brown prodded him into it."
She was very sincere.
Yes.
Very passionate about this.
But unfortunately, Mrs. Brown, she passed away before the goal was accomplished with having the erection of the James V. Brown Library. But that did not stop Mr. Brown. He was devoted. For 2 years following her passing, he designed the French Renaissance building, and it was opened on June 18th in 1907.
That is so cool. What an amazing history of this chapter.
Right.
And you say there's 3,000 chapters across the United States. Do they all have this kind of right after the Revolutionary War history as well?
Yes and no. A lot of the East Coast, but as you know,
if we were like in Montana, it wouldn't be the same.
Correct. They formed a little bit later, but yes, all of our members, we are all very dedicated to historic preservation and education.
Well, tell me, I was really just curious about how a person gets involved in the Daughters of the American Revolution. You say you're a legacy member. So tell me what that means exactly. How did you get to be a member, and tell me the process that people might have to go through to be a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough that I am a legacy member. So therefore, a lot of my proven patriot ancestors were completed by my great-grandmother and my grandmother. My patriot is Captain Samuel Auchmuty Sr. I also have 30 additional proven ancestors, but Captain Samuel Auchmuty Sr., he served in Valley Forge under George Washington. He crossed the Delaware with Washington. He served in Germantown, Brandywine, and Monmouth. He was taken prisoner and he was released in exchange. But you don't have to do all of that research if you didn't want to. To become a member, you need to be 18 years or older,
okay.
And you have to prove your lineal descent from a patriot who served in the American Revolution.
And that's definitely a genealogical project.
Yes, absolutely.
And the paperwork that goes along with it, finding everything like on Ancestry.com, and there's a lot of other places that you don't even have to pay. There's a lot of free genealogy.
Yes. And our registrar, Mrs. Brenda Greenbaugh, she could definitely assist you. Her number is 570-220-3600.
Okay, so that's the way for people to get questions answered.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the Tea Party. Are you going to dress up?
I am not going to dress up this year. However, there will be ladies dressed in period-style clothing. My doll and me go to Tea Party. It is an 1850s Victorian-style tea party for ladies of all ages. So tickets were pre-sale. However, we hope with your assistance, Freddi, next year we can have our 5th annual tea party. And I think it's really, again, important to mention that all of our proceeds go directly to the Lycoming Chapter, the Daughters of the American Revolution, and we're really hoping to raise funds for that rededication plaque for America 250.
Okay. Do you have a goal? Is there a goal or any kind of monetary goal?
Right now, we're hoping for around $20,000.
Okay. People, are very generous around here in Lycoming County, especially when you have a cause like Daughters of the American Revolution, when people feel like they want to be patriots.
Yes. Patriotism, God, home, and country. And again, supporting the Daughters of the American Revolution for America 250, you would be directly helping our local county as well as the nation.
I think so. It's so exciting to be a part of this group that has just such a history, and it's almost a quiet history. Like, everybody kind of knows that Lycoming County's been around since, the millionaires and the lumberjacks, but it's gone back way before that, and it's really quite amazing to even get involved and start knowing these things, thanks to the things that you're sharing here today.
Yes, that quiet history, you're right. That is the way it is. And a lot of the times, so us as daughters, it's not about us. We're not out there putting ourselves out there. We want to recognize the history. We want to educate those who do not know. So that quiet history is very important. Bringing that back alive, again, not like you had said, it's not just about Williamsport being built on the foundation of lumber. There's a lot more to our region.
And keeping up with the legacy of the education and patriotism, it's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And those ladies who helped raise the funds, helped do a lot of that background work just like they had for the James V. Brown Library. There are so many other projects that are probably unknown by a lot of people who have lived here their whole lives. And I would definitely encourage you to read about the history of Lycoming County in Pennsylvania, again, from John Franklin McGinnis, who had wrote that, and checking out the Tabor Museum. There's so much history there. After you visit the museum, you might find that you're related to one of these people, and then you can come and join our chapter.
Yes. I am going to join the chapter if I can. I'm hoping to submit the information. We're
going to make it happen.
I know that I do have an ancestor that's actually been verified, so I feel like I just got to do the paperwork.
You can do it.
That sounds great.
We're going to help you.
Okay,
we're going to get there.
My ancestor that I'm looking up right now and doing the genealogy work with is Jacob Glassmeyer was in the militia in the American Revolution, and he was in Berks County.
Wow.
So I think of it like, wow, I thought everybody in my family was from York County, but I've learned through this genealogy that we're more Berks and Reading and Kutztown and all those areas over there and Lehigh County and stuff like that. So just imagine what you could learn, when you start reading and looking.
It's fascinating. Absolutely. Can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
So what made you decide that you wanted to do this research and join?
I've always known that I've had this ancestor, and I thought, and I love genealogy because I'm a member of the LDS Church, and I think every time I interview somebody like yourself who's super interesting, and I think, oh, I just love this information, and I would love to be a part of this group, I always think, well, when are your meetings? And it's always 7 o'clock at night, and I'm unable to do that. So when I found out that Daughters of the American Revolution have a meeting at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays, I thought, well, this is perfect for me as far as the time goes. Oh my gosh, these things are all working together like symbiosis. It's like almost like I'm meant to be a member because the time of the meeting and of all the work that I've already done to find information out about my ancestor.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I want to encourage other people to go looking.
Absolutely. It sounds like you're the person to do it, too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So when you talk about your grandmother and your mother, what have they shared with you about being members of the Daughters of the American Revolution?
Love of country.
Yeah.
The patriotism. It really hits deep. And it's not even just about the preservation or the education. It's a lifestyle as well. I think the patriotism probably is the number one. It makes you proud of your county, proud of your nation. It helps you be more confident in your workplace. Take pride in what you do. Take pride that what you're doing on a daily basis helps your community and helps the United States.
Yes, it does. And the people that you're working with also have that exact same ideal. And that's all in their hearts.
Yes.
I think that's
it's a
amazing.
love.
It's a love of country. So how many members of the D.A.R. are involved in Lycoming County about?
So in our chapter, we have approximately 120, and then we also have associate members.
Okay. And these are women that run the gamut of age as well. So do you have extra young women and women that are mature?
Yes. So again, 18 to 120, however you're going to make it.
I love that.
We'll take you.
Do the women that are 120, do they come to the meetings and are spry and young?
Yes, we actually have some members who attend who are not able to drive, and we have other daughters members who just give them a call and, hey, we're going to pick you up at this time because we're going to this event. Sometimes we go to other chapter events or to our own meetings.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
That's
all
neat.
Ladies are welcome, and we will make sure you're accommodated to be there.
Do you have a calendar of events or anything that's things coming up in the next few months?
I absolutely do. So we have a few events coming up here. Again, we had talked about the Tea Party, which is happening here on March 28th for My Doll and Me Go to Tea. On April 14th at 1 p.m. at the First United Methodist Church in Muncie will be the Daughters Antique Show and Tell. Refreshments will be served.
Great. That sounds fun. And that's like bringing in an item from your ancestors or something, some sort of genealogical item, a show and tell.
Yeah. So our May meeting is going to be held on May 12th at 1 p.m. again at the First United Methodist Church in Muncie. And our guest speaker will be Mendel Bartholomew. And our program will also include Reverend Henry Mullenberg's influence on Pennsylvania history. And again, refreshments will be served. Yeah. And our next event will be on June 9th at noon. And that's our Flag Day picnic at the First United Methodist Church Pavilion in Muncie. Daughters will have a special time to visit with one another and bring your own lunch.
It seems like a slower pace. The history doesn't go anywhere. So it's not like we have to really hurry up and get it all done. It's like you just sort of celebrate this beautiful experience.
Absolutely. Celebrate and enjoy company together as daughters, discuss ancestors, possible other lineage you may have, and enjoy the historic preservation and work on our projects for, our upcoming projects and ways to help educate.
Do they ask you to involve yourself, like to think about stuff like, hey, ladies, let's come up with a new idea for a fundraiser next year? Or do they stick with the tea party every year?
Oh, absolutely. We're always open to new ideas.
That's neat. There's so many things that we can be involved with here at the Daughters of the American Revolution. As long as you have an ancestor, I guess that's what everybody has to sort of find out for yourself.
Yes. And we would definitely help you find that out.
That's great. Well, I'm thrilled to have you here today to talk about all the amazing things that are coming up with the Daughters of the American Revolution. And I'm looking forward to being a member. I hope that all works out. And I appreciate your assistance in telling me that you're going to be able to help me get it all done. So I appreciate that so much. Rebecca Jackson.
Thank you so much for having us. And a huge thank you from the Lycoming Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
I'm expecting to attend the tea party coming up on the 28th. So I'll see everybody then. So
wonderful.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you.
Thanks for being on In Touch today.
You're welcome.
In Touch is locally produced in our studios at 1685 4 Mile Drive in Williamsport. To get in touch with us for questions, comments, or topic ideas, call weekdays 570-323-8200 or email me at fhammer@backyardbroadcasting.com. For archived files of our In Touch shows, find our Backyard Podcasting link on any Backyard Broadcasting website, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Backyard Broadcasting. The programming discussed here on In Touch does not necessarily reflect the feelings or opinions of the management or staff. Thanks for listening to In Touch. Brought to you by Geisinger, Muncie, and Jersey Shore. State-of-the-art healthcare close to home.